Alexander MacDonald Jr., but he had passed away 2 years before his birth, before Hugh's birth.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Isabella, Hugh John's mother, begged for the name, but lost the argument with Sir John A. MacDonald's family and settled with Hugh John MacDonald. Hugh John. H.J. He grew up in Kingston and Toronto. His father, the first Prime Minister, became the Attorney General of Ontario and was often absent during Hugh MacDonald's childhood.
Right.
And it says Hugh MacDonald played at his neighbors most days as his mother was bedridden due to deteriorating health. When his father was home, the two cherished their time together and often playing cards in the evening. He knows the value of cards as well, and Hugh looks after his own interests sharply. Did he have an English accent? I should have done that.
No.
Well, let me try that again.
MacDonald? No, he wouldn't have.
He knows the value of cards as well as... And Hugh looks after his own interests sharply.
You should look like the lady in the picture upstairs.
Oh, yeah?
This is like exactly
Not friendly. No. Wrote Sir John A. MacDonald in a letter. At 7 years old, Hugh John's mother had passed away. So MacDonald was sent to live with his uncle and aunt, James Williamson and Margaret Williamson, who he viewed as his parents. As he grew older, MacDonald became interested in military service and served on several occasions, but because of his father, his military life was short-lived. In 1872, MacDonald was called to the bar, and after that, he begrudgingly practiced law with his father. Doesn't sound like he had much choices there.
No, I don't think so. No,
that's unfortunate.
Not particularly. No.
But I don't want to rule the country.
I don't want to.
Hugh A. MacDonald, he actually was married twice. So with his first marriage, he married Jean King, a lady his father deemed unsuitable.
Uh-oh.
Can you imagine that, Bun, dun, dun. Jean was not only Roman Catholic, widowed, and older than her husband-to-be, but Sir John assumed she'd interfere with his son's career. Again, not of Hugh's choosing.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he was so kindly towards people, right? Because he had the opposite effect, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So without the MacDonald family's blessing, the two were married, and MacDonald opened his first law office in Kingston. Sir John eventually warmed up to the new couple, and he discovered that Jean was pregnant. Yeah. Well, now, at least they got married, right? He was delighted to welcome a new generation of MacDonalds, but in April 1881, the slowly constructed family bond broke when Jean died. Shocked and devastated, Hugh John sent their young daughter Daisy to live with her grandfather so Hugh John could rebuild his life.
Do we know how she died?
No.
No? There's no note of it anywhere?
No.
Just curious.
I'm sure if we found, we probably could find.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So by 1883, MacDonald, 33, settled in Winnipeg, but traveled to Toronto to marry his second wife, Agnes Von
with the names.
Cougnot.
Yeah.
Or probably Cougnot. You wouldn't pronounce the G-H.
Cougnot, like a donut?
Vankoughgt.
Cougnot.
May I interject at this point and apologize to our friend, Michaela D. Vancancelos, because I have butchered her name so often. I even spelt it wrong on the podcast when it went to Spreaker, and I'm so sorry, Michaela. Michaela's awesome. If anybody wants a reading, get a hold of her or us, and we'll pass it along to her. Anyway, I had to clear that spelling, and
because it's the name thing.
How embarrassing! I'm so good with names usually, and no, I totally so sorry, Michaela. Anyway, back to the show. So after he married Agnes, who was also later referred to as Lady Agnes MacDonald, the couple welcomed a son named Jack a year later in Winnipeg. MacDonald started a law practice with James Stewart Tupper and William Johnston Willis Tupper, sons of Prime Minister Charles Tupper. Oh, okay, I see how that goes. Throughout the years of his law practice, the partners changed several times. An introvert in the public eye, MacDonald was not a public man. He preferred to stay in his study, smoke his pipe, and read. But as much as he avoided the public eye, he was a member for several organizations. Now, which is interesting because we've had lots of stories. You can smell clearly his cigar smoke in the study every now and then.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where it was heavy for you. Maybe you didn't like the smoke in your lungs. Because you're such a petite flower. The smoke just might have just
too much for
you. Too much for you.
Too much.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Sure, we'll go with that. In February 1896, the Armature Hockey Association of Canada (AHAC) hosted the Stanley Cup Championship in Winnipeg. Winnipeg's team beat Montreal 2-0, according to the Winnipeg Tribune. MacDonald, I'll just finish this last paragraph, the president of the Manitoba Club at the time, and his wife watched from the game from the balcony of the club.
balcony.
Well, maybe I'll just finish this one too.
Yeah.
After the game and first ever Stanley Cup parade, both teams, the MacDonalds and about 40 others, celebrated in the Manitoba Hotel. MacDonald later presented the Stanley Cup to the AHAC team. Well, that's actually cool. I didn't know that.
I didn't know
that's
that either.
actually,
That
for
is
much as
pretty
I'm not
cool.
into sports, that's
Yeah, I
actually
know, but
pretty
that is pretty cool.
Mhm.
Right, yeah.
Take it, Cher.
Take it away. While Hugh John was campaigning for an election in rural Manitoba, he received news of his son's passing away. But even though Jack died in 1905, Hugh John later met and loved his grandsons. We'd visit him at his office in the Boyd building occasionally, said son of Daisy, Hugh Gainsforth. He'd always made sure when my mom wasn't looking, he'd shake her hand super hard and leave money in it. But we had to make sure my mom didn't see.
What a good grandpa.
That is awesome. Shake it. At 77 years old, Hugh was struck with another blow and was diagnosed with... Why are you giving me these things?
Erysipelas?
What the heck is erysipelas?
A bacterial skin infection.
Oh.
Erysipelas?
I wish I would have seen that.
Oh my god, that's funny.
That's funny.
That is funny. In one leg, and well, I mean, it's not funny about the infection, but it's funny that it tells you what it is there.
Yeah.
In
What
one,
is that?
What is that? Oh, it's a bacterial skin infection. Oh, cool.
Because I'm a doctor. I just play one on TV.
In one leg in 1927, failing to recover from the infection, his leg was amputated. Hugh John had to learn to walk with an artificial leg. That would have been interesting, artificial leg at that time.
And on these
What it
stairs?
would have been like. Oh,
And in these stairs?
Those stairs are steep as
Like
nuggets.
there's stairs. Like if you go to the second floor where the bedrooms
Plus, if
are,
you're tall,
there's like stairs on the second floor going up to like another little level. Do you know what I mean?
and they're like,
Like if you misstep, I could go pee in the middle of the night and break my neck.
oh yeah, for
Well,
sure.
or break a rib.
Yeah.
Two? Two ribs? 2 ribs for the price of one you've got?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, Jen.
Oh. About 2 years later, the other leg became infected. He protested against another operation, and on his last day as a magistrate, he called his doctor, went home, fell into a coma, and after several days passed away in his sleep, according to the Winnipeg Tribune archives.
That's fast.
Wow,
eh?
yeah. MacDonald died. We probably had cellulitis, man. He probably got septic.
Sure.
MacDonald died in March of 1929 on the 29th. His funeral was at All Saints Anglican Church in Winnipeg.
At 9:29 p.m.?
Maybe. Thousands of people lined the streets for his funeral procession to St. John's Cemetery.
And St. John's,
Ah,
right?
Yeah.
What's beside St. John's?
no.
Macaulay's place.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, everything
Sorry.
comes full circle.
Sir John A. MacDonald forced his son into politics and law, but was proud of his accomplishments in the end. The former Prime Minister swore his son in when Hugh won the election. Hugh didn't want to be a lawyer or politician, but followed his father's footsteps out of respect for him after family tensions subsided. Okay, and then we have a time limit here. In
Cool.
1884, became disturbed by the agitation of the Farmers' Union. The farmers' unrest was due to provincialization?
Provincialism?
The friggin' words, man. It's killing me.
I'm going to get some booze.
Sherry needs
crying.
she needs some talkie juice.
Oh no, man!
Get a couple of
Or
These are
a really
all
fast,
big
let me
words.
download a really fast Hooked on Phonics for you, okay?
Yeah, beep, 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 beep. Maybe if I
Learn
said
on
it
the
in
fly.
French or Ukrainian, it'd be easier. I don't know.
There you go.
1885, served as lieutenant in the 90th Battalion of Rifles, and saw action in Fish Creek and Batoche.
You're hurting me.
1890, appointed a Queen's Counsel in Winnipeg. In 1891, campaigned as a conservative in the federal riding of Winnipeg. Won his first election, sworn in by his daddy-o.
Oh, isn't that nice?
That would be kind of neat, eh?
Yeah.
1891, he attempted to retire as MP, but his party refused his resignation.
How could
It's
they
like,
do that?
I don't know. Can you? Can
You
they do
can't
that?
refuse.
You can't quit.
You
must
can't quit
stay.
me.
You-
I think the drama.
I won't quit you.
In 1893, he resigned his seat in Ottawa and returned to Winnipeg.
Are you saying it's a little over the top?
1894, he declined an invitation to lead Manitoba's Conservative Party. But in 1896, he ran for another federal election and became the Minister of Interior in April.
Wow.
Prime Minister Charles Tupper invited Hugh to join his cabinet after Hugh started his law firm in Winnipeg with the Tupper Sons. Good Lord, this keeps going on and on and on.
It's like the gift that
Holy
keeps on
crap.
giving. It is 21 pages.
I know. 1897, he is suspected to have played a part in the
print.
election corruption. Investigated by Liberal Party agents who filed a list of 106 specific charges against
Wow,
people
that is a
involved.
lot.
That is a big-ass list. It's almost like the States right now, right?
Kind of like that.
Yeah. 1897, MacDonald's lawyer admitted an agent had hired teams to convey voters to polls. Oh. in contravention of the Election Act. Therefore, the election was invalid. Oh, can they do that? There's an invalid election? Good Lord.
I don't know.
That would just seem just odd to me.
It would.
Be like, no, sorry, that election didn't happen.
Yeah.
Move on,
You see
people.
nothing here.
Yeah, you see nothing. Ooh. 1899, accused Thomas Greenway of mismanaging Manitoba's money in campaigns. Can't accuse anyone of that now.
No
For
kidding.
the provincial
That's the norm.
constituency. In November, Hugh John won his constituency by a small majority. 1900 became the premier of Manitoba for about 8 months. An attempt to implement his election promises introduced prohibition via the MacDonald Act, the Liquor Act.
He sucks.
Yeah, what the hell? Later that year, he returned his law practice. Yeah, because people probably beat him with sticks.
No kidding.
1904 was elected the president of Manitoba Conservative Association.
Do you want me to hail the next one?
Yeah, I think you can go on with some other dates there.
All
honey,
right. Okay.
After I inhaled my hair.
This is the good page, and I didn't
Yeah.
plan it this way. No, it is.
I
It
know
is
this.
actually. So in 1911, he was appointed as magistrate in Winnipeg. In 1912, he became Knight Bachelor of the Bath.
What's
Sorry,
that?
I'm juvenile. I don't know.
Knight Bachelor of
Hey,
the
baby,
Bath.
I'm the Knight Bachelor of the Bath.
Seriously.
Want to run a tub?
I must Google that later and see what that is.
Want to
all
run a
about.
tub?
Yeah. Bubble it up.
Bubble
Bubble it
chicken.
up.
Baths on Nova donation.
I'm gonna have to look into that. Hey?
Yeah.
He was given the right to be called Sir Hugh John MacDonald. In 1917, he challenged the Board of Police Commissioners and refused to allow the police union to be allied with the Winnipeg Trades and Labor Council. Okay, so he challenged the Board of Police Commissioners and
Yeah.
refused to allow the police union to be
Allied
allied
with
with
the
the Winnipeg
Trades
Trades
and
and
Labor
Labor
Council.
Council. So that just tells me right there he knew. I'm not saying corruption. He just
He
knew
knew there was
that
some shady shit going on.
if they had to be in the same union, then there would be no justice
No.
for the regular Winnipeg Trades and Labor
Right.
Council.
Right.
They
Yeah.
had to be a part of their own organization
Well, yeah,
or whatever.
sure.
1918 voted to instruct the chief constable to interrogate all members of the,
The
police force. Whoa.
All members of the police force.
Shit was getting real.
Yeah, that would be a lot of people.
As the sirens
As the
ring in the
sirens come
background.
again. What is going on with the sirens, man?
Now this is pivotal. So because this is the big year, 2019,
It
and
is
everything
1919.
with doors
Yep.
open.
Yep.
1919 is the 100th year of the general strike. So all
Yep.
the facilities in town here, they're doing doors open, are commemorating with lots of activities, especially Dalnavert House, which is where we're at right now.
Yep.
So he was very instrumental in the 1919 strike because you can see where he's starting there in 1917. He's starting to say, whoa,
Yeah.
you
People
can't be doing
that
that.
stuff. Let's
No,
investigate
we
all
need
the
more
cops.
fair trades
Yeah.
for the people.
Yeah.
And can't lump them all together. And so 1919 was at the front line against the Winnipeg general strike. Okay, he viewed the strike as a revolutionary movement, right? So I
Whoa.
guess he was probably trying to maybe prevent it from happening,
Right, because he was trying to get everything under control here, probably,
Right,
right? Before
exactly.
we had to even go to such a thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's you're against civil
fired,
civil
yeah.
law.
Yeah. That's fired. I
That's
know
fair.
that one.
1925 turned 75 and celebrated his birthday with special meetings put on by the police commissioners.
Oh, the police commissioner's like, oh, thanks for investigating more, and let's throw you a party.
1927. It's kind of funny, right? Because at one time he's interrogating them and
That's
didn't want
right.
them, and now all of a
And now
sudden
they're
they're
suckling.
kumbaya,
Yeah,
right?
suckling back, right?
1927 made his last appearance on behalf of the Conservative Party and was carried to a platform to address the National Liberal Conservative Leadership Convention. 1928 resumed duties in the courtroom after receiving his first leg infection.
Oh, recovering,
1929
yeah.
retired as magistrate on March 2nd, 1929.
Yeah.
So now this is where we're going to get to the lady of the house, Gertie. Agnes Gertie. Known for her extravagant events and floral decorations around Dalnavert, Lady MacDonald was the daughter of S.J. Van Cunat, who worked with Sir John A. MacDonald. Agnes married, so obviously they found somebody appropriate for him, right? Because
yeah.
like the first one,
Yeah.
and Daddy hooked him up.
Yep. There you go.
Agnes
Have that
married Hugh John on April 26, 1883 in Toronto, and nearly a year later they had their son Jack. In Winnipeg, Lady MacDonald and nicknamed Gertie both organized and attended many events. One event she attended was a luncheon in honor of the Duke and Duchess of Cornwall's visit in 1901,
one. 1901, God.
where she sat at the head of the table. She was also one of 105 people who attended the luncheon at the Government House of Manitoba for King George and Queen Elizabeth's visit in 1939. According to the Dalnavert Museum's archives, Anyway, I didn't know where my periods and my commas end and start.
I put the pause
Oh
of
my
the
God.
sauce on the wrong.
Anyway, that's all right. Not only was she a busy socialite, she had a great impact on Hugh John's political life.
Oh, really?
According to letters Hugh John wrote